Greetings. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hi, Alex from Brazil. Jared in the house from Hawaii. Thank you for waking up. It's 6 a.m.? No, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. in Hawaii at the moment, right? Alex from Brazil over here too. Love it. Jihan, Kardashian. Seni seviyorum. So Sarah Van, looking forward to upcoming workshops. I'm planning one in New York and New Jersey. Well, New York, New Jersey as one workshop rather. I'll be planning something coming up in probably July, mid-July or so. I'll keep you guys posted, of course. Whoever is joining, my wall is insane. Ah, yes, my infamous magnet wall behind me. This is not any travel I have taken. I would just like to say I started collecting magnets probably in 2010 or 12 maybe, like really focused on collecting the magnets at that time. And I've been traveling since 2002. So yeah, I'm missing a lot of places here. I should probably get you guys to see if you can maybe hook me up with some of the places that I've been to. Um, Anyways, if you aren't joining, please leave a hello or wave and let me know where you are joining from. As I mentioned before, I mentioned before in previous live chats, rather, one of my favorite things about these live chats is the diversity and the international audience with whom I get to engage with. And you guys also get to engage with each other. This live chat is part of my monthly live chat series, Empowered with Magna, Q&A. I get tons and tons of questions throughout my life. Some things that I feel are really useful to others, and there's a bunch of experiences that I've gone through, one of which I'll be talking to you about today. Um, and the whole purpose of these live chats is to present those ideas and hopefully provide some insight or some tips or some lessons that maybe you can take so that you can feel more empowered in your lives as well. Um, a big part of the live chats, of course, is your engagement. And as you know, or you don't know, depending on where you are logged in from, I'm live on Instagram here, and then live on my Facebook profile, my Facebook page, and on YouTube over here. So if you see me kind of looking all over the place, there's no other person here. It's just me with multiple devices. Okay, so bear with me with that. If you haven't already supported this channel by hitting like or subscribe, please take a moment to do that. That's one of the easiest ways to support. And I believe there's badges or something that you can get here. And on Facebook and YouTube, I think there's a link in there that you can get buy me a coffee, coffee. Yeah, that thing. Um, and also, I'm going to mention it now, but I'll mention it again. Feedback forms. Feedback forms are super important for me because I like to understand what you actually got from this live session. If there was something that you feel you could apply to your life, that's the whole purpose of this, right? It's not just for me to come out here and talk about whatever, because I know I can do that very well, but I can also do that with my friends in a private space. The whole purpose of me doing it live and publicly and in a way that you can engage is so that I can provide some sort of service to all of you as well. That is probably one of the most rewarding things about my life and my career, and getting to be in this position now with the audience that I have is that I have a greater impact. And I find that very rewarding and very fulfilling. But I don't necessarily know how much of an impact I had unless you share that with me. So for the feedback form, you can just go to magnagopal.com, my name.com, and go to the contact section. There's a feedback form right there. You could also just go to magnagopal.com/feedback, and that should take you to the same place. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. So wherever y'all are joining from, let me know. Put your name. I can see your name. Put your location into the chat. I know Jared is Hawaii. I got Igor from Croatia. Rovinton is happening soon, no? Or is it this weekend? Chispa from California. Lovely. All right. So for some of you, John from Virginia, but possibly in Greece at the moment. I don't know if you're still over there. We shall see. Mohammed, don't know where you're from. Throw that in the chat. All right. So today's topic is going to be about forgiveness. We're going to actually try to stay on time with today just because I have one of my best friends visiting and I'm going to try and spend as much time I can with her today. But I have this chat scheduled as I always do at the beginning of the month, except for last month because I had a lot of travels at that time. So I wasn't able to make it. Um, Couple of other announcements before we get into that is my database of tutorials for dance stuff is available currently. You can go to ondemand.magnagopal.com, but I will be switching that platform over to my course platform. So everything will be in one place. That announcement is going to be coming up soon. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. My QFit, all my fitness workouts, all the things that I had done 60 days in a row is also going to be released as a full program. That was a comprehensive workout program where I would say it was the fittest I've ever been in my life, even with gym workouts. That was the fittest I've ever been. So I'm going to be putting that out soon too. Keep an eye out for that. And spin program, I know some of you missed the last enrollment. I think that's the last time I went live was just before the spins program enrollment had ended. If you missed that, that will be opening up again in a few months. I will keep you posted. Okay. Wade from New York, greetings, and so happy to have you here. All right, so let me first answer something that had happened. This is not related to our topic on forgiveness today, but I was at the New York, not New York Congress, BIG New York Congress. And there was a lead. And I've had this actually happen to me with a few people. So I'm just going to put this out there because I think it's risky and I would rather nobody get hurt. And I'd rather be the one to point that out before more people go and attempt this thing. I don't know if you've ever seen a lead or felt a lead or done this lead yourself as a leader where instead of giving the follower, so let's say here's my finger dancing, okay, this is your follower and then my thumb is the leader, right? You're giving your follower a crossbody lead, so she's about to do a step over there and turn, but you're giving her an inside turn. Now most of the time you would have her hand, one of the hands, to give her an inside turn, or possibly you could check your follow from the shoulders to give her an inside turn. I got, and this has happened before as well, a long time ago. I have not experienced this lead in a while, but I got this lead from this gentleman that I was dancing with at this event, where he grabbed my knee and pulled on my knee to give me that inside turn. Now, I have seen it happen before. I've experienced it before with more than just one leader. I highly recommend, honestly, that you do not do that with anybody. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Because, yeah, exactly, Jared. Knee. I'll tell you why. Because the knee itself, even someone who is fit, and I would consider myself fit and strong, it's not about the strength and the fitness, it's about the joint. The knee itself is a joint. And it cannot even, you can engage all the muscles in your legs, and it is still not going to create any type of protection around your knee when it's being yanked. Okay. So if you are going to lead somebody, ideally, the knee is not the place to lead them, just because there's nothing that the follower can do to protect that joint. And if she's not expecting it, she's less likely to be stepping in a way that is stable. Okay. Second reason, or second thing you can do with that lead is, of course, you can lead from the actual part of the leg that cannot be bent. So either knee down to the ankle, so the shin, the calf area, or higher, knee to the hip. Chin area, I mean, that's a real stretch unless you're shorter and she's really tall and that's like right here for you. I don't know. That would be a very weird, I'd like to see that. That might be a little bit difficult to accomplish quickly and without looking dumb and possibly getting kneed in the face as you're trying to attempt to get all the way down to the shin. The higher part of the leg, okay, the upper part of the leg between the knee and the hips is risky because obviously you could be placing if this is my legs, you could be placing your hand just above my knee or you could be placing your hand way too close to something else. So I would just avoid that move personally. As a follower, as a leader, it's either dangerous or it ends up being very close to being inappropriate. So for my leads out there who are like, oh, look at a new way that I can lead across by lead inside turn, there's so many other options. Please attempt something different. Okay. So that's one point that I wanted to touch on. The other thing I wanted to address was a question that I had gotten from a female instructor who runs a dance school and asked about um if you were to dance. She asked, if you are to dance with someone who's off time, what do you do to correct them, or do you just follow them? Because obviously this is something that is affecting your level of fun as a lead, as a follower, and as an instructor. And I have touched upon this point before, so forgive me if I sound like a broken record here. But we have different levels of fun. We have different ways of gauging what is fun to us. And that can vary. When we start dancing, fun to us could just be getting on the dance floor and just moving, even though we have no technique, even though we have no timing. That could be just as fun. And then as we improve, now all of a sudden, fun is not constrained to just getting on the dance floor. In fact, that's not enough. We're not having fun just getting on the dance floor without technique. Eventually, we want more moves. And now, once we're doing more moves, we're having more fun. Or for other people, the fun is in the performance. Or for other people, the fun is in the teaching. Or for other people, the fun is just going out and watching people. So fun is not one definition. There's no one definition for that term. And so when you're approaching, especially as an instructor, lead or follow, if you're dancing with somebody else, don't assume that their level of fun is your level of fun. And if you assume that, the problem is going to be that projection is going to make you judge them. Because if I look at somebody who is unable to stay on time, and I'm like, well, you're not that good. You need to get better before you can have fun. When in all reality, that person might be having a grand old time being off time, right? Who am I to judge that? But if I come in with this idea that fun is only once you have your technique, once you have your timing, once you understand lead and follow, once you understand musicality, once you're able to do all of these things, if and then you have fun, then I am limiting the fun that this person can have by projecting my expectations on them, right? And my own level of fun. So, my advice to this other instructor was, if you are dancing with somebody who's off time, and yes, it does suck, especially if you're an instructor, especially you understand the timing and the technique, then it becomes a little bit more complicated. It's harder to break out of that. But just try to connect with the person at the level that they are showing up. Meet them where they're at and try and connect with them where they're at. And if after that dance, that person happens to say, oh, wow, how did I do? I just started dancing. I want to get better. Boom, there you go. There's your opening to talk about technique, to talk about classes, to talk about lessons. Otherwise, there's no reason to mention any of that because they don't care. You can assume that moment and not insist on selling them on something, but just assume that they had a good time with you and they had a good time even though they were off time, and that's all that matters. Okay. Because we do project a lot. And actually, I ended up talking to somebody over that weekend too. And this was more of a personal story that had nothing to do with dance. And it was all about family relationships and this particular person's relationship with their son, and how a certain conversation that he had with his son all of a sudden led to a rift between them, and they hadn't spoken to each other in a few months, and he was feeling very jilted, like, I can't believe that my son would not even check in to see how I'm doing, or to ask about this other person that I had mentioned to him that was suffering from something. And I told him, and he's, I think, in his 50s, the son is 20 or something like that. I told him, so you want your son to respond and react the same way that you do after you've had 50 plus years of experience and he's only had 20. You're expecting the same level of maturity, same level of compassion, same level of empathy and communication. That's not fair, right? So again, going back to what I was saying before, even with the dance, is we really got to be able to meet people where they're at, and it doesn't matter how similar they are to us. They have all everyone has gone through their own experience in life, and that's how they respond to life. And if we keep projecting our experiences and our responses on other people, we don't give them a chance to be who they are, and we don't give us, myself and that person, a chance to connect in the best way possible, just because we're putting up all of these blocks, right? So just a point to think about in terms of projections and expectations. Also, I wanted to say, if you have any questions, feel free to add them. I know I'm kind of going through today a little bit faster, but I am always open to answering questions. So if you have any comments, if you have any experiences that are similar to what I'm talking about, please throw that into chat, okay? Batty said, I'm bigger than it. You're not supposed to reveal yourself, mister. I was being very strategic with not mentioning any names. Um, anyways, yeah, so if you guys are here in YouTube or Facebook, again, drop a line, say where you're from. And if you have any questions, throw that into the chat. And I am going to get into our official topic for today: forgiveness and ownership. And I actually had requested the person with whom I had this experience with to join today's live chat. He is in the chat over there, Mr. Jared from Hawaii. Really great instructor, great dancer, really lovely person. I'm saying that now because we have made amends. Okay, so let me share this story with you with his permission, which is why he's here, right? To give me that. Yes, LOL, I'll take that. Barry from the UK. What is up? I need a drink for a second. This is coffee. I know it might look like something else. Actually, who cares if it was something else, right? I do what I want to do. I'm an adult. All right. So, this experience, the main topic of today's chat: forgiveness and ownership. I was in Hawaii recently at this event, Bachata Expo. And the last time I was there was actually in January. I was doing a set of workshops, but there was no big social or anything that I had attended. I had just gone to teach. I had a social for my students that had registered for the intensive. And then next day, I flew home. The previous time that I'd been in Hawaii was about 10 years ago. That was my first trip to Hawaii. I did some workshops. I was there for maybe about a week or so, seeing the island, doing some stuff that was for me, but also doing a lot of private lessons. Now, with privates, for most instructors, of course, this is a way that we make money and it's important to us. And it's also a way that we can teach. It's also a way that we can deep dive into a lot of things. But it's something that when we are offering privates, especially when we're not at home, but anytime actually, we are scheduling time out of our schedule for anything else that we could be doing or that we would want to do for that private lesson. We're scheduling time and blocking out time for a private lesson. So most of the time, what I do, some of you might be familiar, I take my payments in advance, because if you don't decide not to show up, you still covered that time that I blocked out for you, right? Compensated for that time that I blocked out for you. In this case, I had a private scheduled with my friend, and I'm saying it because he is my friend today. I had a private scheduled with him, and he bailed. He bailed. He stiffed me on that, and he never answered my texts. He didn't answer emails. He didn't answer phone calls. Then I saw him at the night out. We were at this some social just before the day of workshops. Saw him at the night out, and he's one of the instructors. So the announcer was, calling all of the different instructors up to dance with me. and he cut in two, and I felt this desire to say something, but of course that's not the time or the place to do it. So we danced, even though I would have much rather been like, let's stop and let's talk about this, right? We danced, we had a good dance. And then the weekend progressed. I did my workshop and I came back home. Now, things happen, and there's no point in holding on and keep on reaching out to the person. Time has passed, right? And I had no plans of returning to Hawaii anytime soon to figure that out, anyways. So I kind of just let it go. But I didn't. I didn't completely let it go. I still remembered. So on this trip that I went to recently, I had seen Mr. Jared. And when I saw him, there were some other friends around us when I had encountered him. And I think someone tried to introduce us. I was like, "Oh, do you know Jared?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, Jared. Yeah, you're the one who stiffed me on the private." Now, I'm one of those people who I have a filter. I'm quite diplomatic, and you would probably know that if you met me or if you've watched any of these live chats. I'm quite diplomatic. However, I also don't feel like I need to hold things back if I don't feel incorrect in expressing them. Right. And for me, some of the things that I express and the way I express them is also a way to test the waters to see what exactly is the present moment and the present condition, the present circumstances with this person. So I had said this very casually, not with any anger, resentment, or hatred or anything like that in my tone, just like, "Oh yeah, Jared, yeah, I remember you. You stiffed me on that private." And his response made world of difference. Now there are many ways to respond to something like that. You could be dismissive about it. You could be like, "Really? After 10 years, you're still thinking about that?" And put it down as if it doesn't mean something. Or you could pretend you never even knew, like, I don't even know what you're talking about, which is also a form of dismissing what happened. But what he did was, and it was cute and it was funny, he said, "Wow, I was thinking, I saw you on the lineup. I'm coming to this event. And I was thinking, what are the chances after 10 years that Magnus still remembers that moment?" Well, obviously the chances are 100%. Right? And it was a moment of acknowledgement of something that had happened, and then there was an ownership. It was like, "I'm sorry." And he's just telling me right now in chat, I was a much younger person back then, and I'm going to add probably a little bit less responsible and less mature as well, as we all have been, right? I cannot tell you that I was some super mature person, um even 10, 15 years ago. Okay. So the reason for this topic is because there is an element of forgiveness. All right, there's an element of forgiveness. I had already kind of like let it go, and had he not responded the way he did, I would have been totally fine treating him amicably, but not pursuing anything further. I would have just been like, "Hey, what's up?" Maybe we dance, maybe we don't. I probably don't have much of a desire to dance with him because I'm like, "Bro, you're not even acknowledging what happened, and you're dismissing me, and you're kind of making it seem like it's nothing," even though at that time that was like income, my time. I could have been doing something else. I was in Hawaii for the first time. You think I want to sit around in someone's house waiting for a private to show up? I'd rather be on the beach or trying something new, right? So yeah, I could have let it go. But his ownership of that moment is what allowed us to move forward. If he didn't own up to it, there's an element of forgiveness. People are like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, forgive everything." But I think there are different levels of forgiveness. So there's a forgiveness where I'm like, "Cool, I'll let it go. We're okay, but we're not anything more, and there's nothing possible." And then there's another level of forgiveness where you really say, "All right, it's squashed. Now let's see where we can go." And the reason for those two levels is because I can forgive you but not want to engage with you again. Because if you dismiss something that was important to me as nothing to you, or if you pretend that it never happened, or you don't acknowledge that it was something wrong because I felt hurt by it and it was just ethically wrong, right? Then you haven't matured from that point. Then you haven't evolved from that point. You haven't gotten to a point of thinking that that action was inappropriate or incorrect or hurtful or whatever. So that means that it's possible you could do that again. And me allowing or opening the door and allowing you into my life is only making me vulnerable to something I know I don't like. So that whole forgive everything and forget everything and let it go, to a degree. I mean, we are human, and our sense of evolution and everything is in that same way. You know, we do something, it hurts. We be mindful of the next time we do that. And so my maturity allows me to protect myself and say, you know what, if the person that I am willing to forgive does not own up to what they did, I can forgive it, but I'm not going to let you in again. In this case, and I'm going to share one other story too. In this case, what ended up coming out of that is fantastic. Like, I can't be happier about this. My trip to Hawaii, this was the highlight. So Jared, I gotta say thank you, for being a bigger person, a more mature person, and someone who could acknowledge and own, what had happened. Because yeah, I mean, I'm so happy to say that you're in my life now, because you've provided me with so much laughter and dessert. The dessert is more important than the laughter, obviously. But yeah, he oh, we squashed that. We had a great conversation, and we ended up, well, one of his close friends has now become one of my like close friends, this guy Luis, who's just hilarious. And I pretty much spent the rest of my trip in Hawaii with these three, or these two people, and just the laughs, the conversations, the end of the night trying to say bye, and moving from like talking in a room or talking in a restaurant to going and talking outside the car, to sitting in the car and talking in the car, to getting out of the car and talking longer out there, to just not wanting to ever say bye. And I did not imagine that that would ever be my relationship with this person, Jared, because of what we had experienced in the past. But it was only possible, and I say this again, because he owned up. I will tell you another story. This is another story from somebody else who did not own up, and they are, with respect and consideration for myself, they are kept at a distance. This is a long time ago, but somebody who had done much worse than just cancel a private. Okay, done a lot worse. And um, I would see this person at an event, and I would not talk to them. I would just kind of ignore this person, because not like with any negative energy, but just as if you didn't exist, because I don't want to hate you. That takes effort. That takes energy out of me to spend my emotions and feelings directing all of this towards you. You are not worth anything. You're not worth the like, and you're not worth the dislike. So I'm just going to ignore you. Just like the stranger on the street, I'll give you a head nod when I pass you, and that's about it. But this was someone who I was very close to for a long time. And I just kind of treated him as if I never knew him, right? And I got an email from this person saying, "Hey, we used to talk a lot. We had all of these things that we shared, and I feel like I don't know what happened, and now we're not talking. When someone asks me, how are things with Magna? Where is she? I don't even know what to say to them, because I feel like we're at this new place, and I really don't understand what happened." That shit pissed me off, because you know damn well what happened. In fact, I'm sure you can't deny, if I listed out these 10 things, really terrible things that you had to intentionally do, intentionally go out of your way to do. The situation with my friend Jared, where he didn't come to the private, who knows exactly what happened there, but that was something like, oh, I can't go, or I have something else that's come up and I'm not going to go, and I'm not going to notify her, whatever. But these were actions that were like, I am going to go out of my way to contact this person, to tell that person to do this to Magna, etc. Like, you were very intentional with what you did. For you to send me an email take all that time to write out this long email to me to say you don't know what you did and why we're here, why we don't talk, is disrespectful. And to that person, there's no ownership, right? That's why I'm coming back to this topic, forgiveness and ownership. There was no ownership there. It was a shifting of blame, like as if I am not within reason to feel the way I am, feel the way I feel, or to create the distance I've created. And I'm not saying that this person needs to go in and enumerate everything. I'm not saying that you got to say in the email, look, I know I did this to you. I know I did that to you. I know I did this to you. I'm sorry for this. It's not about that. At the very least, it could be something as simple as, Magna, I know I did you wrong. I can't change any of those things. I was a different person back then, and I'm sorry. Done. I will let that go. I've had that with exes that I've dated who have done some pretty unnecessarily emotionally hurtful things to me. And I just kind of created distance. And after they matured into a different human being, came back and said, hey, I'm sorry. And I'm like, cool, we're good. All I need to see is that there's an acknowledgement from me as a human who had experienced something with you that wasn't good, that was undeserved. For you to acknowledge that is enough. But you have to own your shit, right? I mean, too many of us come into situations with people and everything is defensive. And if you are going to be defensive, you are not making steps forward. You are blocking any progress that you could have, not just with that person, but also in your own life. Because owning stuff is how you grow. If you don't think you ever did anything wrong, why would you change anything that you do? You've got to be willing to say, you know what? Why are you upset? Why is this person upset by this thing that I had done? Was I wrong? What could I have done differently? What would I do differently? Am I a different person or do I still think the same way? Because if I still think the same way, well, there's nothing to be had with that person. That's done. That's over. There's no point. Why waste our time? But if I'm different, then maybe if I see value in that person, if I had something with that person that was worth even a moment of conversation, then maybe I could make amends. But making amends requires us to take a step back, introspect, and own our shit and apologize. And it doesn't take much, but it does require sincerity and authenticity and maturity. If you can't step up to the plate like that, then sorry, but you're probably missing out on a lot of things in your life just based on the block that you're creating, you know. And on the flip side of that, for us who are forgiving somebody, this is also difficult, right? Because when we remember a moment in our past, um, feelings especially really linger. Like it's easy for me, not just bad things, but also good things. When I think about moments in my past and fun moments with friends or climbing a tree, like I remember all of those details and I remember the feeling in a very real way. So when I think about a moment where somebody did something bad to me, I can kind of remember getting upset. Like it's almost like I relive it again in the moment as I think about all of those details, right? Now, the challenge for us, especially when we're in a position to forgive, the challenge for us is to accept that actions aren't identity, right? Actions aren't identity. They might represent your character in a moment, but things change. And we have to be willing to accept that in other people, just as we want other people to accept that in us. We are not perfect. I can tell you for a fact, I am not perfect. I have done my share of stupid things, of hurtful things. I have said things I wished I didn't say. I have done things I wished I didn't do, but I'm not that person today. I have evolved. I have grown into a more mature human being. I think I am a better person today as a result of those experiences, including the bad experiences, because I got a chance to learn from them. I got a chance to reflect and introspect and say, did I do something wrong? How could I have done that better? I will do that better going forward. And that experience has made me who I am today. So everything that I had experienced in my past, you know, all the things that I did, I'm not that person. I was a different person based on the experiences that I had up until that point. So I have evolved. I would want that forgiveness and I would want someone to extend that to me. It's not your obligation to you. I don't, I don't, I want to say deserve it. Deserve is not the right word, but you're not obliged to give that to me. Me coming with an apology does not mean you have to forgive me, that you have to move forward. But forgiving someone else is about thinking, you know what, that did hurt, but I can see that you're sorry about that. I can see that you feel some remorse, and I'm willing to see you where you are. I'm willing to meet you where you are today and not hold on to the past and meet you then, if this is who you present yourself to be. So, for all of us out there, right? It's difficult when it comes to forgiving somebody for something that really hurt. And obviously, my conversation or my story with my friend Jared, I mean that was unfortunate and that kind of pissed me off, but that wasn't super painful internally. But I've gone through a lot of other things that are really painful. And I am sure I have been the cause of that pain for other people as well. And all we can do is try to evolve to become better people. But as we do that, we need to acknowledge and understand and own the things that we have done in our lives and decide whether we want to accept responsibility for that, because that's where it comes down to, is being responsible and accountable for the things that you've done, good or bad, and understand for yourself, not just the person, not just if you're forgiving somebody, but for yourself, understand that those actions don't make you something, right? Those actions are moments in your life, and they are a result of the experiences in your life up until that point. You can evolve, you can become better, you can grow into something different. And so remember that for yourself too. That's where the responsibility and the ownership comes in. That's where the apology comes in. Because if you can say, I'm sorry, then all of a sudden you have already grown into a different person. Those actions of your past do not define you anymore. But we have to be willing, as people who are in the position to forgive somebody, we have to be willing to accept that actions in the past don't define that person anymore, unless they don't own their shit. If they don't, then they are still that person. But possibly, they have the potential to repeat the same actions because they don't see anything wrong with them still. Yeah. Um, so let me just go through the comments real quickly. If you have any thoughts on this, feel free to throw them into the chat and I will add a little bit more to it. So let me just go to Instagram really quickly. And also, again, if you want to support the channel, if you're on YouTube, please hit subscribe, or on Facebook, go to YouTube and hit subscribe. If you're on Instagram, go to YouTube and hit subscribe. And really would so appreciate the feedback forms. It's so simple. It does not take that long, but it means so much to me because, again, my goal here is to provide some value, something empowering to all of you. But I have no idea if I did or if I didn't unless I hear from you. And unfortunately, the chats go so quickly and I lose it and then that's gone, right? So if you don't mind, please magnagopal.com/feedback, or you just go to the contact section and you'll see a feedback form for the live chat and Q&A. It takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You've been here with me for 40 minutes. So what's another 3, right? So just taking a look at some of the comments here. I left the area very well laid out and expressed thoughts. Thank you. That's my goal. Um, some other people agreeing here. Love this. Uh, Lots of love Rocky in the house. Are levels of forgiveness different in romantic relationships versus friendships? Excellent question. Are levels of forgiveness different in romantic relationships versus friendships? Um, no, they're kind of the same, I would say, because the the friendship is where I did not with my friend Jared, but the other past one, the anonymous friendship that did not get reconciled. That was a level of forgiveness where I did not extend it because this person didn't own up. On a romantic side, it's not that it rekindled a romance with that person who apologized finally, but it did allow us to be amicable and friendly with each other to the point where we could have conversations and text and do all of those things because I accepted this person's apology and I accepted that they had grown from the time that we were dating to where they are now. So I wouldn't say that they're different between romantic relationships and friendships. I think the romance might complicate it. Intimacy always does, but what you feel is what you feel, and we're all just got to take responsibility for our actions. Hope that helps. Hi from Turkey. Hello, hello. Okay. Just scroll to the bottom there. So yeah, my people in Instagram, if you want to support, you can always go to YouTube channel and hit subscribe, or you can buy a badge over here. And coming over to YouTube and um, Instagram, Erica from Long Beach. Good day, long day. Erica said, so encouraging, grateful for your healing and the healing that will spread from such loving efforts. I sure hope so. All right, Jared. Jared said, "I'm grateful for that opportunity to reconcile. I didn't know that what would have transpired, but I know I would most likely not get another chance. So I took the leap, and thankfully, it turned out to blossom into our current situation. And I am so glad that you did. Honestly, like you made my trip. Spending time with you and Luis, Luis Yamil. You guys made my trip. Like I had not laughed so much. I had not poked so much fun at somebody. I had never baked a cake as incredible as that. I still half resent taking that stuff to my students who all enjoyed it, but I really wished I had that at home that last night to devour before going on my flight. All of those long conversations that we had, and we really talked about everything. You're a really intelligent person. You're really kind and caring and considerate and thoughtful and all of those things. So it was really nice to get to know you, and I'm glad that I can say you're my friend, and glad that we have so many more opportunities now going forward to connect and to do all of these other things that we'll get a chance to do in the future. And all because you owned up. Um, so Eleftheria was asking next steps after people own their actions. It all depends. It depends on what you're looking for. And that can be something you can communicate as well. But most of the time, that usually turns out to be something organic. Like with my friend Jared over here, for example, it wasn't like, okay, so now that you apologize, now that I forgive you, let's become friends. No, it wasn't that. It was just that opening and the fact that I found out he liked hookah and I like hookah. I went to a hookah lounge with another friend of mine and I was like, hey, Jared likes hookah. Let me invite him. But I would have never sent a text to invite him. Once, first of all, I wouldn't have not have had his number if not for our engagement. But I would have never sent a text to invite him. And it just so happened that he was free, that he was able to make it. And that's slowly where things progressed, right? So it was a very organic next step. It wasn't a forced, planned, calculated next step. It was just organic. The whole idea really is opening the door to whatever comes, right? But again, not really throwing expectations on it, allowing the apology and the ownership, the forgiveness to take place. That's the most intentional part that needs to happen. And then from there, just allowing things to flow as they would, right? And if there's something you want in life, I always say, ask for it. Not enough people ask, so you just never know what you'll get. But you got to ask. You got to be willing to put yourself out there and ask for something. If you want to rekindle a friendships, You can say that, like, hey, you know what? It's been all these years. I'm sorry for what I did. I know it damaged our friendship. I really wished we could get back to that. I would love to get together with you and talk again, and whatever. Boom. There's your step. If you really want that, ask for it, go for it, make it happen. And if that person's not open to it, don't hold resentment. Super, super important. Don't hold resentment. Just accept that your apology, owning your own stuff, cannot come with expectations, cannot come with demands. It has to be an unconditional owning of your responsibility. It has to be unconditional. It has to be just for the sake of your own growth, for the sake of just putting it out there into the universe that you have held yourself accountable, that you apologize for it. Cannot come with any expectations, because if it's loaded with expectations, it is not authentic. It is not sincere. It has to come without expectations, without any demands. It's just, I'm sorry. Accept me if you want to, in whatever way is comfortable for you. But I do not demand that my apology comes with, now we have to be friends. No. I apologize for what I did. Your choice. Your move next. Okay. Hope that helped. Nacho. All right. Okay. Let's see, how do I do this? All right. So a couple people. Erica, I filled out your feedback form from last time. Wasn't a bother at all. I appreciate it. And again, if you have filled out a feedback form in the past, please fill it out again, because it's a different live chat. It's a different topic. It's different things that we're talking about today and different questions, right? So each form or each live chat, actually, you can fill out a form for, because of what we're discussing. Elizabeth, have you ever had a romantic relationship with someone that started out as a friend? Yes, I have. Pete, big hello from the UK. Hi, Pete. Jared, everything under the sun was discussed. Absolutely. And then I got another. Do you think that two people mistreatment or them pointing out? Bernadette said, I'm not sure I understand this question that clearly. Do you think sometimes when two people engaged in a direct interaction, they can perceive our direct truth as mistreatment or blame of them, rather than pointing out the truth? A sort of denial. If I'm understanding you correctly, let me see if I can address that. Denial of the truth, or feeling mistreated or blamed as a result of something that someone is saying to us, is often a result of us not having dealt with that thing, right? Much of what we receive as offense is not always something that is directed to us with the intention of attacking us. It is something that we are reacting defensively to because of some triggers in our life and our past experiences. And those are things that we need to take time to reflect upon and understand better, so that they're not as triggering going forward. But that's something that you can't control. In general, when you express yourself, the only thing you really have control over is your own expression. The only thing you can adapt is your own expression. So what you need to work on when you're expressing yourself, when I'm expressing myself, is trying to be as kind, as compassionate, watch my words, be really clear, try and remove any type of negativity or negative emotion attached to that, watch my tone, be mindful of the circumstance and the environment within which I'm communicating. Is it the best time to do that? I can control all of those things, but that's the only thing that's within my control. I cannot control someone else's reaction to what I say. That reaction is tied to their own life and their own experiences. So you can try to have a discussion, but if you find that someone is quite defensive and lashing out against you or feeling attacked, you can try and mediate that situation by explaining yourself, but it's very rare that the explanation is going to pass the trigger. And that's where time comes into play. And it doesn't happen for everybody, and it doesn't happen for every connection between people, but time is really where we grow. right? You can't force that growth on anybody. It just has to come when that person's ready. And all you can do is accept it when it happens, but you can't force it. So if they do misperceive what you're saying, and misreceive it, right? Receive it poorly as mistreatment or blame or judgment or an attack, you can clarify. I'm not trying to attack you. Um, I'm not blaming you for this. This is what happened and this is how I felt. I'm sorry that you feel the way you feel about me expressing this to you. Um, I just wanted you to know. I was hoping that we could find a solution. I guess we are not at a place right now where we can. I hope in the future we can. Done. Don't continue, because the last thing you want to do in those situations, engaging with someone who's reactive, is allow them to react so much that you get to a point where you are reactive. Two reactive people is is a formula, is a recipe for disaster, and more things being said or done to regret, to then apologize for, to then forgive. So if you can avoid that, that's probably the best case. Again, not everything that needs to be spoken, that needs to be communicated, needs to happen now in this absolute moment. It doesn't have to. You got to pace yourself. You got to time things. Everything in life is about timing. We know that in more ways than one, right? The friendship that you would have had with somebody, talking to them and trying to hang out with them at a loud, crowded nightclub versus hanging out with them at a cafe, very different. Someone's way more receptive to you when they're not just trying to dance, when they're just sitting there having a conversation. So time those things. And if you start to see that your timing might be incorrect, and timing is not just about, oh, is this a quiet place to talk? Timing is also about where people are in their lives, right? So if you see somebody starting to be very reactive, then clearly the timing is not correct for them. They are not in a place to receive whatever it is that you're saying, and they're not in a place to necessarily discuss that. So you can decide, you can figure out when that time is more appropriate, but give it a chance if it's worth it to you. And if not, listen, not every relationship or friendship has to last for life. Some people are in your life for a lot shorter period of time than others. And all you can do is really enjoy the moments that you have with people. And when they're no longer around, have a good memory of it. But stop holding on and trying to force that extension of that relationship the way it was, where it no longer is. Yeah. All right, cool. Um, that I think is actually might be my next topic. I don't know. We'll see. Either projection or expiration dates. We'll see. Oh, actually, before anybody leaves, oh, I should have said this before. Shit. Okay. Really quickly, I know we're doing this on a Saturday afternoon, middle of the afternoon. It is a gorgeous day outside in New Jersey. I would rather be outside and playing sports with my friends, which I will go and do momentarily. But I feel like a lot of us are probably preferring to do that too on the weekends, to not have an interruption in our day or whatever we're doing, whatever activities we're engaging in, with a live chat. So how many of you, I mean, some of you have left now, and I don't know who all is going to be saying this in the chat, but I'm thinking of doing this either on a Wednesday or a Thursday evening. So if you are here, if you're listening to this right now, maybe you can throw that into the comments, or if you haven't filled out the form yet, maybe you can add that into the form in the section where it says, anything else to share. Let me know if a Wednesday or Thursday would work better, because I think I'll be moving our monthly live chat, to one of those evenings instead. I just think it'll be a lot easier for us to kind of attend to it. Of course, if you can't join live, you can always watch the replay on YouTube. And if you have questions, you can always message me. Okay. You can always send me a message via email, is always the best way. magnagopal.com, super easy to find. Or you can send me a message on Instagram or Facebook or on YouTube. Okay. And I always do my best to try and collect all of these questions and then put them down and say, okay, which day is a good day to address these things? Weekends are better. Yeah. See, weekends are better for you when they're at 8 a.m., right? I bet you wouldn't wake up at 8 a.m. my time for that. And on that, okay, I'm going to come back. Somebody just wrote a thing. But again, on that note, if you want to support this channel, very easy. Hit like, share with your friends. If there's something that you gained out of this that maybe somebody else might also benefit from, share it with them. The whole idea is empowering, the M powered, right, with everyone. And yeah, if you want to support even further, you can get badges here on Instagram, or you can do like super chat something on YouTube, or you can go into the description, and I believe it's like Ko-fi. I forgot the link exactly, but it's in the description. If you want to buy me a coffee today, even though I already have one here, I'll have another one on you. So, oh, I love this. Jacob just said something. This might be useful to anyone who's online. He said, time after time, we have to choose our fights. Some fights we should not have. In the German army, you cannot complain until 24 hours after an incident, when you are calm and the anger has cooled down. Most people in our life come into our life to teach us something. Life goes up and down. Are you singing something? Is this time after time? Is that the song? No, I don't know. I might be confusing that. But either way, it talks about, if you have an incident, could cool down. I'm not really talking about forgiveness and ownership within a moment. That is where you're having like a fight. I'm talking about like a long-standing grievance, something that has happened in the past that you're still holding on to, that is preventing you from moving forward in a productive or constructive way with that person. Yeah. Cool. So thank you again for joining me. I said I would be fast. I always say that. And one of these days, I will make my 30-minute live chat a 30-minute live chat, not an hour. But I appreciate all of you joining today. I hope wherever you are that you have a fantastic rest of your day or night or morning, Mr. Hawaii. And again, when it comes to your relationship, when it comes to the things that you've experienced with people, present day, past, whenever, think about what has happened. If you want any type of future with that person, whatever degree, even if it's just as a level of amicability where you say hi and you actually mean it, and how are you, you actually really mean it, then make sure that you are able to own up whatever it is that you've done, and also that you can forgive and move forward and accept that actions of people in the past should not have to define their identity today, just as we would not want that projected on us. And we would hope that there is leniency there. We should be able to give that to other people as well. Yeah. William, I'm going to get in touch with you because we have a one-on-one to discuss. All right. Denise, thank you very much for joining. And thank you for I got a badge from you, I think. Thank you. Appreciate it. Angel in the house. All right. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Send that good energy, whatever you guys have been giving me here in this live chat. Take that and give that to somebody in person. Okay. And don't forget to fill out the feedback form, please. magnagopal.com/feedback, or just go to my website, contact section. You will see the feedback form there. Love you all. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Bye. Never know where I should end it first. Bye, guys. Bye, folks.